Hello and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it is all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska.
And I'm your other host, Khalid Hussein.
Hey, Khalid.
Hey, Joe.
You know what we're talking about today?
I do, yeah. I do know what we're talking about today.
We're gonna do some Star Wars stuff. But before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you a question, a Star Wars question.
What's up?
Are you doing lightsaber sounds?
Yeah.
That's cool. I wanted to ask you a question. In one of the films, Luke and Han, they ride these creatures called tauntauns, right?
They do, yes.
Do you remember that part?
Yeah, I do. It's in the second one, right?
My question for you is, what is the internal temperature of a tauntaun?
Oh, God. You just made me walk into this, didn't you? I don't know, Joe. What is it?
Lukewarm.
You can really just, in high definition now, hear my disappointment. So
Ooh, this joke works two ways because it's a Star Wars joke. Also, great segue to introducing our guest. Joining us today is Luke Johnson, who is a digital marketing whiz in the nonprofit sector and also doubles as a literature and genre geek and Star Wars expert. Welcome, Luke.
Hey.
How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, it's good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Did you appreciate the joke?
I did. I have to say, I've heard that one before, Joe, but hey, I liked it.
Yeah.
You don't have to lie, Luke. You don't have to be nice just because he's the host. I give you permission to be as critical as you need to be. Sometimes he needs to hear it.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Hey, hey, you guys. Why did episodes 4, 5, and 6 come out before 1, 2, and 3?
I will walk out.
I don't know.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
Because in charge of directing, Yoda was.
I like that.
That was my Yoda voice.
I like that one.
I'm only not mad because you committed and did the voice.
Yeah, I had to go all in on that one.
It was a good voice. I don't want to keep being like the meh guy, so that was a good voice.
Yeah. Well done, man.
Okay, I'm the meh guy again.
All right, so Luke, I know you've listened to the show and we went over this, but since you're new to the podcast, we have a couple guest questions for you, and you know them already. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's roll.
So, being a creature feature podcast, we always like to ask, what is your favorite monster across all pop culture? Any corner of pop culture, book, movie, show, what have you? And if it's not the same, what would you consider the scariest?
Sure. So my favorite monster, I'd say, are the Nazgul or the ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings. Particularly
good choice.
The adaptation that Peter Jackson put together. The creature design, the costume design is just so iconic. And I had a picture of them, of course, in reading the books before I saw the films, but I think PJ and his team just absolutely nailed that. I just love their representation of, being between life and death and actual corruption of the ring is just so cool. And the sound they make is just so iconic and unique. Maybe someday, Joe, you can give that one a shot.
Yes.
Is Peter Jackson regularly referred to as PJ, or are you just that cool?
Well, I don't know about the latter, but that's, yeah, I mean, I've seen him referred to that.
I work in Hollywood and I've never heard of anybody referring to him as PJ. You did it so naturally. I had to like double take. I was like, wait, who directed it?
Well, maybe it's just, my internet discussion sort of point of view, but yeah, that's it, I guess. So yeah, I say that's my favorite.
I like it. We should do them. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and then
would that also double as your scariest? Do you have a different one?
Yeah, I do have a different scary one. So I think for Joe and Khalid, you I think you know this about me, that I'm pretty easily scared. So this was pretty easy for me to choose. But I'd say anything like specifically paranormal with like kind of a spiritual or like possessive bend. So I'm thinking of like The Exorcist, like the original Exorcist in the 70s. I saw that when I was
Mm.
pretty young, so it formed some conceptions in my mind that have been hard to shake. So that's been, yeah, that still scares me to this day.
That's a rough one to see when you're young.
Yeah, I think it was, I sort of broke the rules, so to speak, in sneaking that one. But yeah, it was traumatic.
I can imagine that would be. Wow. Good answers though. Those are definitely two that we haven't gotten yet. I like it.
Nice, nice.
So, question number 2 or 3, if scariest and favorite count as 2. Anyway, what do you consider to be on your geek card? I introduced you as being kind of a literature genre geek and Star Wars fan, but if you want to like dig a little deeper into like maybe what you really enjoy about those things or other kind of nerdy hobbies that you're into, just kind of what makes up you? What's your favorite stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Star Wars has been really, really huge in my life. Reaching back to days of childhood, spent a lot of time with my sister, watching the movies, talking about them. We even went so far as to make up like a a song and dance for the title theme too, which maybe I'll show you someday if you're lucky. Um, but also important in my life is Lord of the Rings, like I mentioned. Again, read that growing up. That particularly with my brother was really, really big. And it was really special for us to see the movies too when they came out, and we could compare and contrast. So that was awesome. Otherwise, I'm a pretty big gamer. I like to play video games. I've had the let's just say the current console all the way back since like the Super NES days. So that's been a big part of my life too. I love to game when I get a chance.
What are you currently gaming with? What's your favorite game right now?
Let's see. Right now, I'm on like my fourth playthrough of The Witcher 3. It's a game that came out in 2015, and there's like a remaster on the horizon too. So that one I've just it's so deep and broad that I've played it so many times, and it's really special to me.
Cool. Witcher would be another good one to do on the podcast sometime.
I wanted to do a game discussion for the monster in Death Stranding at some point, but I didn't know if you'd commit to like a whole game.
I don't have any. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am not a big gamer. I kind of feel like in theory, I would be, but I've kind of resisted because I know I could dive into those. I would dive into it like I dive into everything too much. So
It's a
I don't know.
commitment. Like any
Yeah,
one game can take like anywhere between like 30 and like 100 hours.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe we could try it sometime. We'll see. But anyway, thanks, Luke, for your answers.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So we brought you on to talk about Star Wars with us, but Khalid, do you want to get in a little specifics about what we're discussing?
Yeah, today we're going to be discussing episode 6, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars. I haven't said that yet. Sorry, Joe. Uh it's directed by Richard Marquand and written by some unknown. His name's George Lucas. I've got a little synopsis from our homeboy Google, and it goes a little something like this. Luke Skywalker battles horrible Jabba the Hutt and cruel Darth Vader to save his comrades in the Rebel Alliance and triumph over the Galactic Empire. Han Solo and Princess Leia reaffirm their love and team with Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, the Ewoks, and the androids C-3PO and R2-D2 to aid in the disruption of the dark side and the defeat of the evil emperor. Done. I'm done.
What a monster!
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
So we're talking a lot about Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, because it features the monster kind of in question. That if you read the title already, we're talking about the Rancor. But we're going to spend some time just going into Star Wars in general and probably digging into some EU stuff because the Rancor does appear in other properties. But this is probably just the most I'd say maybe the clearest pop culture image that we have of this creature. So we're talking a lot about this movie specifically. But I kind of wanted to ask both of you before we move into anything else, just like, just generally, what's your history with Star Wars? So, and Luke, you kind of went in a little bit with your geek card question, but like tell me a little bit about Star Wars for you. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, it was really big in my family. We watched it a bunch, particularly with my siblings. So there's a lot of emotional depth there for me. But just generally, I really like the philosophy in Star Wars, and I think in a lot of ways it reflects a lot of the classic literature that I like to read. But whenever I describe to people why Star Wars is important to me, I always go back to the idea that it's really about like self mastery, and that there's, at least when you're talking about the Jedi and the Sith, there's two very different points of view about how you approach self mastery. So for the Jedi, it's through like transcendence through detachment, and for Sith, it's like transcendence through self affirmation. So I just feel like no matter like where I am at in life or how I'm feeling, I can always go back to this universe to kind of give me, meaning and resonance. So whether it's the canon or legends, or whenever I have accessible, it's always been really important to me on that level too.
Damn, yeah. Thanks for sharing. What about you, Khalid?
I had the opposite. It meant nothing to me for like the first like 13 years of my life because uh, I always say this jokingly, but also kind of serious. Like I didn't have a white dad, so Star Wars was just not a priority in the household growing up. Like it really feels like Star Wars, Bruce Springsteen, and like I guess like the Pet Sounds album, or like just like those like big things that like white dads are like excited to share with their kids as like a way to connect. So I don't know. Like for me, it was always the culture around Star Wars that I was more familiar with growing up. Like the idea of like the stereotypical nerd had like strong feelings about comic books and Star Wars, and like obviously every Simpsons writer was influenced by it. Just pop culture in general was so heavily influenced by Star Wars that like I pretty much knew the entire movie through references before I ever saw a frame of it, which also weirdly was how I got introduced to Wizard of Oz. But yeah, like so I didn't get into actually watching them all until high school, when an old friend in high school and I, just because he hadn't seen it either, we just decided to watch all, at the time, all 6 movies in order. So we started with the prequels and then we got into 4, 5, and 6. It was exhausting and not the best way to introduce yourself to something, to watch. I think what came out to like 16 hours of movies for a day. But I've revisited them time and again since then, and I like them fine enough. I don't have the rose-colored glasses of like childhood to really make it epic for me, and
Mhm.
I'm a Last Jedi defender. I'll get ahead of that right now. That's my bag. I really like genre busting or formula breaking like installments in a franchise, just because like especially with something like Star Wars where you have literally decades of material to like pull from and like be like, well, what if we just like argued this idea that we've taken for granted? Like I'm a big fan of that. So that's what I love about Last Jedi. And then I would say probably my favorite like franchise within the franchise is The Mandalorian, just because I'm a big fan of like folklore and like myth making. So like those like adventures of the week type things always grab me, and The Mandalorian does it very well. But yeah, like I like it. Uh, Billy D. Williams. What more could I say? Like that guy's awesome. So like getting to see him just like quip with Harrison Ford and them, and then seeing like how much fun Carrie Fisher had in her prime, like it's all great. I recommend it. If you haven't seen this small indie production, check it out.
That first one was an indie production too, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, technically, I guess I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. Well, for me, I did grow up with Star Wars, like you said, the white dad whole thing and all that. But like when I was a kid, we had like a little cabinet with like VHS tapes when I was really little, and there was the three original Star Wars movies we had, and I remember they were all of them were ripped, so I never saw like the full cover for the longest time, but I would watch them just repeatedly. And then I got really into them, of course, and I was a big toy collector when I was younger, so I had a bunch of the Star Wars toys. I had this game, this like electronic game where you had to like match quotes, so it would, like, if you pressed one of the buttons, it would say a quote from the movie, and then you'd have to try and like find that quote and match it to the same quote on a different part of the board. It was like a matching game, but like because of that I memorized so many random quotes from the movie. Like one of them I remember was like when the guy's like, "You may fire when ready," like that part. So
I
like all
love it.
these random ones, I'm just like, when I hear them in the movies, I'm like, oh, it's that game. It was a sweet game. It was like shaped like the Millennium Falcon, and the buttons would light up. I don't know what it is, but it was cool. So I didn't have like as maybe intense of like a meaning I had ascribed to it when I was growing up. I just really thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool series of movies. I was just a big sci-fi geek when I was little, and I mean, when I was little, still am, I guess. Um, Star Trek was kind of always my bag, but I never really, for the longest time, I never really thought that there was like a competing nature between those two. And I don't really think there is still. I think people play it up more than there is. So I kind of grew up loving both of those franchises in different ways. Like Star Wars was that big fantasy epic that scratched that itch of, like the quest and the destiny, the mythology. And then Star Trek was just a different side of a coin, a different side of the sci-fi coin for me. So I don't know. I loved them both for very different reasons. And can I say, here we are. I kind of lost touch with it a little bit, but honestly, it was episode 7 that kind of reinvigorated. When that came out, I was like, oh my God, I got to rewatch all of them again. I'm like, okay, I'm into this again. And Mandalorian, same, has really heaped on that. I'm really enjoying that show too. So a lot of fun. Always enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, picking up on a couple of both your threads. It's interesting because it's such a unique property with such longevity. It's interesting to see how the different iterations of at least the canon movies have led to different generations reacting differently. So what I mean by that, for example, is like there's a lot of Gen Zers right now who grew up with the prequel trilogy, and they just absolutely love it, and people my age or older specifically, just generally, at least according to Internet Rage, they think it's not so great. So it's really interesting to see how that evolves too, and to your point, Joe, with the sequel trilogy too, like with some of my really younger nephews and nieces too, like seeing them experience it for the first time with these movies that are new to me. It's just really really cool to see.
Yeah, it's like everyone kind of has their star. It's like Doctor Who almost that way, where everyone has their specific doctor. Like everyone has their Star Wars. That's kind of the one that they gravitate to the most. Now that's so expansive, especially.
Yeah, good comparison.
Yeah. I mentioned having the toys. I gave my Lando Calrissian toy to Khalid when we were in college.
Whoa, that is generous.
Yeah, hopefully you still have that. But I told you I was going to bring this up. I want to tell you. So he brought it home. He brought the toy home, and you got Khalid, take it from here.
Yeah, so I do still have the toy. Or let's say I have the toy. I couldn't tell you where it is, but let's say I do. I mean, it's been 10 years. I'm not like a monster if it's lost. Um, but yeah, so I got the toy from Joe from work because he knew that like I loved Billy D. Williams and Lando, the character specifically. So he got me the toy, and I took it home to uh my third oldest sister, and at the time she had to have been, yeah, she was like 6 then, or 6 or 7, and she was really big into Pippi Longstockings, and she immediately dismissed the toy. All the other kids were like, "Oh, cool, that's a cool toy. Well, I like his cape," and she was like, "Psh, nobody likes your Lando Smooth doll. All right, this is we like Pippi Longstocking. She's super strong. She could beat up Lando Smooth." And I kept getting like really hung up on her calling him Lando Smooth in a disparaging context. Like when like somebody accidentally gives you like the coolest nickname and they're using it as an insult, like you can't even own it. It was a very upsetting thing for me. I immediately told Joe, who would not stop calling him Lando Smooth after that.
Yeah, I still remember Lando Smooth to this day.
It's a great nickname for an already
It's
great name. Like Lando Calrissian's cool enough on its own. Lando Smooth, like that sounds like cigarettes they sell at like the liquor stores in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
I'll take a pack of Lando Smooths.
Oh, that's excellent.
So for this podcast, we watched at least Clete and I, we rewatched The Return of the Jedi. So I wanted to ask you guys, just like we talk about Star Wars in general, what do you guys think about this movie in particular in relation to all the others? Does it stand the test of time? Do you enjoy it? Is it up in your power rankings, up high? Is it lower? So what do you guys think of Return of the Jedi?
Luke, why don't you start off?
Yeah, happily. So it's right in the middle of the pack for me. It's my fourth favorite in the power rankings. I still give it, some OG cred being the OG trilogy, and there are some really, really high points. The highs are really high with this movie. Like the final, confrontation with the Emperor is beautiful. The opening sequences with Jabba are awesome. But I don't want to bring in The Last Jedi too much, Khalid, because I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum as you. But I will say, in the same way, the highs were high and the lows were low. Like, I'm not a huge Ewok lover, and I do think it drags a little bit in the middle. But that's on a relative scale. I mean, it's still Star Wars in my book, but within that group, I'd say it's right in the middle of the pack.
All right. What do you think, Khalid?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a power ranking just because outside of like the newer ones, which I think I've seen more often more recently, I can't really like recall enough of like the prequels or the original trilogy to like properly rank them, but I liked this. It was more jarring than I remember tonally. Like you've got all these like threads that like irrespective of each other kind of work, but when you put them together, like one, some of them are just way more interesting. Like Luke has to like come to terms with the fact that like all of his like teachers are telling him to kill his dad, and he's just like I really don't want to, guys. Like that's a compelling storyline. But then you've got like all these other threads like the Ewoks that just they feel like tonal whiplash where it's like you've got one guy who has like this like incredibly difficult decision and then you've got these other guys just like I don't know, doing like a Home Alone type thing, like hitting people with like rocks and like bow and arrows, and they supposedly have like blaster proof shields. So I'm the power levels there are very confusing. Um, yeah, I don't know, just jarring is the word for this one because there are parts that drag, but a big part of that is that like they keep like giving weight to like different aspects so that like when those scenes aren't happening, it's hard to feel that invested in like what feels like incredibly low stakes. Um I'm not like an Ewok hater. That being said, I just think that like whatever point they were trying to go for, like that whole like Avatar or Pocahontas or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like the native or indigenous people who are like less technologically advanced are still scrappy enough to beat them. I think Star Wars has done that better before and after this, like examples of that. And they've done it in a way that felt like you could actually care about the action beyond like, okay, well, I don't think they're gonna like end this scene with a bunch of slaughtered tiny bears. So so like you're watching it with like a little less like, oh god, what's gonna happen? And so I don't know. I mean, I could go on, but it's a little all over the place, but I didn't hate it.
Endorsement. I didn't hate it. Wow. So for me, this when I was a kid, this was my favorite. When I was watching those VHS tapes, this one I loved.
Nice.
I don't. It's far from my favorite now, but I do really like it still. It's just for me, it kind of the original trilogy, it feels the most nostalgic because of that. So I don't know. I just have more parts of this one memorized, but I feel like this one of the three originals is the one that leans into the silliness the most. Like I guess if like you put some of the concepts of all these movies on paper, like you're like, okay, that's kind of silly, but the first two play it a little more straight. Yeah, sure, there's humor, but they they come off a little more serious, especially Empire Strikes Back. But this one I feel like is almost a little more deliberately campy, which is an interesting choice coming off of the previous episode, which was much darker, and I wonder if that's was intentional in that regard. But I don't know. I have a thing. I just have like a special thing for the conclusions where it all comes to a head and some exciting battle at the end, and so that always stand out to me. I was one of those like strange people who was obsessed with the Ewok spin-off movies as a kid too. I rented those from Blockbuster a ton. So I like the Ewoks. I was all about that stuff. So I mean Warwick Davis, he can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. So I'm into that. I don't know. I'm into it. I liked it. I do recognize what you guys are saying though. There are definitely parts that drag a lot. Like when I'm rewatching because I know it all, I'm like there are times when I can easily tune out. So that's probably not the makings of the best of movies, but I think it's a whole lot of fun for me at least.
Yeah, I will say that of the trilogy, this one utilized like George Lucas's retroactive. Let's add a few more CG monsters. That is what I would have done back then if I had the ability. They're more seamless in this than like in the first one, which is like it's incredibly jarring when you see all these like Halloween store costumes and then all of a sudden just like a CG dude next to them that clearly wasn't there before.
Except for the song.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the most effective. I'm totally serious. I thought the song part. I was like, oh yeah, those creatures work.
Did not love the song myself, but
Was
to
the
each his own.
song not in the original movie?
Nope.
No.
Okay, I didn't know that. In retrospect, I should have guessed that wasn't in the movie because it felt like a lot of time dedicated to that. Like clearly when the heist is supposed to happen, they take like this like 3-minute break for what I personally believe is that universe's version of All Star by Smash Mouth.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of that edition either. But I'm young enough that like even the edition that I got my hands on when I was young was like the special edition basically. So I didn't have a lot to like compare to be honest, to contrast to. But yeah, that's not my favorite part either. But it's relatively brief, really.
So they like composed that gibberish song and like choreographed all of that and just like threw it into the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I really want like Francis Ford Coppola to do that with like his movies. Like Godfather 2 just has like a Macarena scene now, you know? Haters be damned.
I liked one of the edits I did like in this one was at the end when they were looking at the like all the different planets celebrating. They added in Naboo and Coruscant because we'd seen glimpses of them from the prequel trilogy. I felt like that was not a detractor whatsoever. I thought that was just kind of a cool like expansion of the world building just to see those spots that we hadn't. If you're watching it in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that you hadn't at that point wouldn't have seen for several movies. So I thought that was cool. I'm like I don't know how I feel about the insertion of Hayden Christensen. I think that's cool. I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, in the same vein to your point, Joe, in terms of like continuity, um, I think the anger again is just kind of harkening back to like this is not my quote unquote Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just speaking for myself, I thought it was a cool continuity addition, really.
I mean, hate him or love him, he's like the Anakin we all think of when we think Anakin Skywalker. It's not that old dude that we saw like scarred at the very end of the
Yeah.
third movie.
Was that the same actor, the one who was in the Darth Vader outfit that was the Force Ghost at the end that they edited out?
I would guess that.
Does anyone know that?
I don't know who else it would be.
Yeah, I think it was Sebastian Shaw, I think is the gentleman's name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of the villain in the 6th Fast and Furious movie.
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, that can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. I mean, I might be crossing wires, but
no, that makes sense actually, because the Asian guy in the crew, his name is Han Sol Oh.
Oh, okay.
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah, he's Korean, and his name is Han Sol, like Seoul, Korea. Oh.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, that's got to be a connection then.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of the way that I feel like this happened in a couple of the movies, but the way that like Billy D pronounces Han Solo, he's like Han. What's up with that?
Um, the assistant director clearly didn't have the nerve to tell him he's saying it wrong.
You can't correct him.
You shouldn't correct him. I mean,
Fair point. Fair point.
even his mispronunciations have purpose, Joe.
I kind of like it.
I love it.
Han.
I love it.
Yeah. So in this podcast, we're going to focus a little bit about the Rancor. So the Rancor makes its appearance in kind of the earliest the first part of this movie when they're doing the kind of the heist, as Khalid said, in Jabba's palace. They're trying to the object of the heist is Han Solo, right? They're trying to get him. He's frozen in carbonite. And
which is a cool heist because like he's basically like a painting at first.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So in the process of the heist, like Luke Skywalker waltzes in and gets dropped into this pit where there's a monster that Jabba keeps that eats people, presumably eats people that he's displeased with, and a fight ensues. And so the monster's not a huge part of the story, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun one to talk about because of the originals. This is probably one of the most effects heavy of the three movies, I'd say. Has a lot of strange aliens, a lot of more non-humanoid type creatures, and the Rancor itself is like the scale of it is at this point was kind of the biggest. I think, other than if you count like the asteroid worm, maybe that they're inside of, but like the scale of which that we see directly in front of us, the biggest kind of creature. So, just going off of that, what'd you guys think of the Rancor?
I liked it a lot. I mean, when I was young, I'll admit that it scared me a little bit. But looking at it now, I just really like. In a weird way, I kind of just like how the effects have like aged. Like it looks like so slimy and like grimy and just nasty that it's just kind of interesting to see. But I thought it was a cool placement of it.
Yeah, what do you think, Khalid?
For me, it was interesting just because I don't know why, but like it just really reminded me of my relationship with my cat, like the Rancor and Luke. It's like on paper, I'm bigger and smarter, or I guess not like smarter doesn't apply to the Rancor, but like I'm bigger than my cat, and like the scale relatively matches up, but like. There are times when, like, if my cat is like quick enough and clever enough, like I'm down for the count. Like I just give up. So, like, I really empathize with the Rancor this time around as a newer cat daddy.
Wow,
I love it. Great comparison.
Wasn't sure where you were going with that when you said that. When you said that it reminds you of you and your cat. That's an interesting answer.
Just the scale of it and everything, and like my cat has like done stuff like that where like he'll like hide in like hard to reach spots, and then I'll go in and like he'll like come at my fingers. It was all too real.
Yeah, that's cats for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you, Luke. I think the practical effects that we see in a lot of these scenes hold up really well. And actually, I'd say better than the CGI add-ins. Like when we were talking about earlier, the CGI, like I'm like, oh, that's CGI definitely. But the practical effects, like I'm not in the moment, I'm not questioning like, oh, that's small in real life. And it's just they're splicing the scenes together. Like it feels really well done. And like you said, the sliminess and the griminess, they actually had to keep like moisturizing the puppet to keep that effect, because they were filming in like deserty areas where it was dry heat, but and then like they made it look all drooly to just like add to the realism of it.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think a part of it is like what works so well, and like what I was getting at with how some of the newly added CG characters work is that they utilize low light more. That's how a lot of these like effects, like either CG or practical, are like most effective. And like the first movie with like so much of it on like Tatooine and like brightly lit areas and stuff, it just felt fake.
Interesting. Okay.
One of the lead effects artists that was working on this movie is a guy named Dennis Murin, who is a Industrial Lights and Magic VFX artist. Did a large portion of the work with the original Star Wars trilogies, but most extensively worked on this movie. He was actually working concurrently on E.T. while also doing this movie, so he had his work cut out of him for that. But I found a quote from him about making the Rancor that I thought was interesting. He says it was an interview with StarWars.com, I believe, but he said, "quote We tried it originally with a guy in a suit. George thought that might work, and I was thinking this will never work. But as we got into it, we made a suit that a couple guys could work with. It was one creature, but really being controlled by two people inside of it. It was big as a person actually is, so it was not a rod puppet or anything, and started looking pretty neat. But George quickly said, no, this is not going to make it. And then they end up switching it to a puppet. So that's the end quote. But what they ended up going with was like a rod puppet, like something that you kind of see in like those old, like almost in fantasy where they have a rod behind it and it's coming out on stage in front and you're kind of like dancing around. But the full size Rancor on screen is actually an 18-inch puppet, so it's really not that big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was some more animatronics built for like when the arm reaches out and grabs Luke. Like that was just like an arm that was built for that.
So they just like use like different lenses to like achieve the effect of making it look huge then.
Essentially, yeah, it's just kind of like clever filmmaking tricks. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then one thing that stood out to me too is the noises that it makes. The noises actually were recordings of a dachshund, like a dog. That was the sound of the sound designer's neighbor's dog.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Luke, I think you were telling me that you're reading a book right now that features the Rancor. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Features might be a strong word, but it's part of it's a small part. I'm reading the Darth Bane trilogy right now. I actually just wrapped it up a couple nights ago. Huge recommendation, for those of you Star Wars fans who want to go a little bit deeper. It was written in the early 2000s, I want to say. But if I remember correctly, I think it's the first book. Bane is, kind of a big figure in kind of the history of the Sith. His belief was a lot around like the old ancient wisdom around the Sith is what should drive it forward. So on one planet where he's seeking a holocron, which is just basically a library of, the information and wisdom from a single Sith. He's looking for Darth Revan's holocron, who's like another big figure in Star Wars. And while he's searching for it, he after he lands, he actually like subjugates a Rancor through the dark side and rides it around the planet in search for this holocron. So I don't know if you can come up with a cooler transportation system, but that's pretty damn cool.
That is really cool. I did a little bit of research into mythology and the lore of these creatures, and it sounds like a lot of it's built in the Legends mythology. Which, how would you explain that? How would you explain Legends and canon? It's like the stuff that when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they said all of this EU stuff is not technically canon to what we're making, but it's like a Legends continuity. And then they have a new canon, which is like the new novels that have been coming out are now part of the current canon. Is that am I explaining that right, Luke?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Joe. Yeah. Basically, they just wanted to exert creative control, and now they have as you said, new canon coming out too. So yeah, it's basically Disney trying to reconcile the history of decades of expanded universe content.
Right. And Darth Bane's part of the Legends, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. That sounds cool though. That sounds like a fun trilogy.
Yeah, it's really amazing. So for those, who want to delve that deep, huge recommendation.
What I found in my kind of just musings through it is so for those of you listening, like the base idea of the Rancor, it's like a large semi-sentient reptilian carnivore. And according to some of the mythology, they're native to the planet, and I might be mispronouncing this, so Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, Dathomir?
Nailed it.
Yes. And as we see them on screen, they're about 5 meters tall, long arms, intense jaws, armored hides. But what I came to realize in reading more about them is they had since kind of been transformed as not necessarily like these aggressive monster creatures that we kind of see in the movie. So like the one in the movie, I think has been given a name called I saw it was like Patissa. which means friend in Huttese, which is the Hut language. I found out also, so there's a lot going on there. But that one was like trained as like this like kind of monster that they kind of kept, which is kind of sad when you learn a bit more about them. But I guess they were relatively benign and not really aggressive creatures, according to Wikipedia, which itself was a reference to the Star Wars Visual Dictionary from 2018. One of the first appearances of them in the old Legends books was a book called The Courtship of Princess Leia, in which Luke was trying to look for more worlds and to join the Alliance after they kind of had that big victory at the end of Return of the Jedi, and was also like just looking for more Force people to build a sort of a new Jedi Order in the novel verse. And he goes to Dathomir, where he meets the Night Sisters, or AKA the witches of Dathomir, and they had domesticated Rancors and rid them around, sort of like how you were describing Darth Bane does. And so the Night Sisters, I thought, so Courtship of Princess Leia, I read some of it, not awesome book, but I thought that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, people may like that book, I'm not sure, but it wasn't for me. But the Night Sisters are a super cool concept, and they are explored more in the Clone Wars. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, pretty extensively there in the animated Clone Wars show. And it explores a lot of their mythology as well. But yeah, that's exactly right.
And I think people who might be fans of the Clone Wars, is it Asajj Ventress, right? Was from that planet?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And could you describe who she is?
Oh, for sure. So yeah, she was a Sith warrior. She was apprenticed to Count Dooku, who is a pretty central figure in the prequel trilogy, played by Christopher Lee, for trying to jog some memories.
Great actor.
Yeah, what a legend. What a legend.
Wait, if he's Dooku, who's the robot with like 8 arms?
Oh, that's General Grievous. Yeah.
I always get them mixed up.
Yeah.
A robot and Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
In every movie, I have to figure out which one's the robot, which one's Christopher Lee.
I
It's
love
very
it.
frustrating.
I love it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Luke.
Yeah, Luke, what were you saying?
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, so she, so Asajj Ventress, yeah, just plays a pretty big, role in the Clone Wars, kind of being dispatched to do Dooku's, his wants, and then also in connection, of course, to Sidious's wants. So it's kind of a ripple effect there.
And you told us this off air, but you've watched all of the Clone Wars and you're currently watching Rebels, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Clone Wars, huge recommendation for me in the later seasons. It's definitely a show that improved as time went on. And, as Dave Filoni took, I think, a little bit tighter control. And then, yeah, Rebels, I'm actually watching for the first time through right now. I'm on season 3. That is, yeah, like even head and shoulders above Clone Wars.
Wow.
It's really a work of art. So, for all those who love Star Wars, if you haven't checked that out, definitely do. It's on Disney Plus, so pretty easy to access.
Cool. High recommendation. I think that stuff, those shows are a blind spot for me and Khalid, I believe. We've watched all the movies, we watched Mandalorian and everything like that, and I've read some of the books, but yeah, haven't gotten into those yet. I feel like maybe that's the push I need. Your glowing recommendations.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're really, really, really awesome.
So I'm gonna actually go back and reference Ewoks again, but my exposure to the concept of the Night Sisters is like the retconning of, so the second of the Ewok films, those spin-offs that George Lucas did, like on Skywalker Ranch, just in his backyard area. The second one's called The Battle for Endor, and the second one's cool. I don't know. I will say that the second one is a good movie. It's got Wilford Brimley in it. It's a lot of fun. He's like a cantankerous old like tinker who just lives there. But anyway, there's the villain, the antagonist is this like shape-shifting witch woman, and it was just like at the time it was just like this woman who had magic powers, but people have since gone back and said, oh, she's one of the witches of Dathomir who had gone there and was the antagonist. So it's like a retcon kind of thing. I don't know if that's official in any capacity or it's just something that fans did, but I feel like it adds a kind of a fun layer to that movie for me. But so if you guys haven't watched that, you guys should watch it.
Oh man, yeah, that's really super interesting to me. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
it's worthwhile. But yeah,
So I just have a quick question that I forgot to ask during the movie discussion.
yes.
Since we got Luke here, who seems pretty well read on the Star Wars universe, one question with two parts. Why do the droids experience fear? And follow up, why do they experience pain? Like the one that is in Jabba's hut that gets his feet branded and screams.
Oh man, good question. I'm not sure about the pain element, but I know from watching some documentaries about influences on George Lucas, like Joseph Campbell and the Hero story. I know one function he was thinking about for the droids, just narratively, was that they would kind of operate as choruses used to in old like Roman plays. So
Yeah.
yeah, and sounds like you're familiar. So in some ways, they were kind of like emotional conduits. So that's the answer I'd give for that one. But pain, I don't know about that. Maybe that they just programmed that in to approximate, I don't know, sentience or what. But
I mean, it feels like you only make a robot feel pain if like you want to hurt it. I don't know. It's very.
oh, that's
It was just a very messed up thing to have to like wrap my head around because like I just never like I mean the even just ignoring the loaded idea of like branding like captured robots and like what that's supposed to mean, but it was just like a kind of a it was just a lot. That's all I'm saying.
oh, yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair, ethical conundrum. So yeah, fair.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of like C-3PO, like they got like the most cowardly robot. I don't think any other robot has been half as scared as that guy is all the
Again, fair point.
I love when he knocks on the doors in the beginning and he's just like, this is the gentlest knock. Oh, nobody's here. We should go.
Yep. And then the thing opens and R2's like, all right, so are we gonna do what we came here to do? And he goes on and he's just like, oh, wait for me. And I'm just like, poor guy, you were not supposed to be on this team.
Oh, I love it.
I also say, Khalid, dialing back just a few minutes here, I enjoyed how you referred to Jabba's palace as just Jabba's hut.
Oh my god, did I say that?
You did. I like it.
Jabba the Hutt's hut. It just rolls off the tongue.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is wonderful.
It's not really a palace. It's like a dive bar. It's a speakeasy. Like, let's be honest.
It really is. Yeah. It's just a place to party.
I also I like that it's very interesting the way the Empire works, where like there's clearly like evil aliens and like bad monsters and stuff like that, but like for the most part, like all of like the diversity is on the rebel side, and then it's just somehow in a galaxy full of like who knows how many sentient creatures, it's still just like an army comprised of mostly white dudes. Like you got to try really hard to be racist in the Star Wars universe, but like they did it.
The Empire is supposed to be xenophobic, right?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, there's some narrative justification for that, but yeah, overall, yeah.
But even if they're xenophobic, like, did they come from a planet of only white guys? Like, did they like reproduce like lizards? Like, I don't. It just doesn't track.
I think that's a fair point, man. Fair point.
I used to think the Emperor was an alien when I was a kid.
I
mean, I guess they're all aliens in a sense to us, but like I thought he wasn't like a human-ish thing.
Oh, I could totally see that. He's mangled. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
They probably like kept it ambiguous until further in. I mean, I don't know. Is he pretty? I guess in retrospect, is he like more clearly human in the first one now that you're older?
Yeah, because he's just like the senator, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Once
Well,
you get that prequel backstory, for sure.
yeah. Yeah. So in this movie and in Star Wars in general, like, I mean, the Rancor is far from the only monster that we see. Like this universe is ripe with just like cool creatures, cool alien effects, cool prosthetics, cool puppetry, and all this stuff. Like, and then now in Mandalorian, we have some really stellar CGI with some awesome monster effects and whatnot. But and practical effects, like we heard on the last one, like our last episode when we talked to Cole, he talked about their company worked on the Baby Yoda puppet too. But like that being said, like I was just kind of curious, do you guys have like a favorite monster, or like any monsters that you think are that stick out to you in the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, speaking of Mandalorian, the crate dragon
Yeah.
was super super cool for me. I mean, that's been a figure in the EU for a while, and even going far back as like the original. There are some theories about that, but and it was also in like a video game that I played, growing up a bunch, called Knights of the Old Republic, which
Mm.
is a big like internet love 2003 video game. So it was cool to kind of see that come to life on a Disney level budget. So that was cool.
How about you,
Uh,
Khalid?
okay, so number one for me is probably that like funny like squid monster or whatever in Force Awakens, when they like introduce the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that's right.
Like
Like the one that like rolls to move, like that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Oh
that
yeah, that
that
one. Yeah.
octopus. That one, like I just loved it. Like he like immediately dispatches like the cast of the raid and like almost takes out like the main characters. That was like cool in like a funny way. And then a very close second is it the bantha or whatever, the breast milk monster from,
That is not a bantha.
what is it? What is that?
You know,
The one from Return of the Jedi?
No, from Last Jedi.
Or yeah, Last Jedi, the one that Luke milks with the green
Yeah,
milk.
yeah. That's
That's your
number
that's your
two with a bullet.
second favorite monster?
Yep.
I don't know what it's called.
yeah,
Do you know what it's called, Luke?
yeah. To be honest, I don't either, but I do know it is not a bantha.
It's definitely
Okay.
not.
Well,
Banthas are like those horned, like furry creatures that we see in this one.
Yeah, yeah,
oh, okay. Well, not
Yeah.
that then, but
yeah,
the breast milk monster.
yeah. But good choice.
I loved it. I loved it.
Did you know for that monster they actually had to use a helicopter to bring in that animatronic puppet thing to that island where they were filming?
You mean they didn't just like they weren't native to that island?
Well, no, like it wasn't like a small thing. Like they actually had to airlift it, like many meters onto the island. Like it was carried from multiple helicopters to get there.
Whoa.
It was a and it,
Worth
I mean
it.
they put a
Worth
lot of effort into
every
that shot.
penny.
I love it. That's hilarious.
I it's hard for me to choose because I feel like I just think the Star Wars monsters are always really cool. Um, I think the Yeti creature from Empire Strikes Back. What is that one called? Wampa? No, is it
Yeah,
Wampa?
that's a wampa. Yep.
I think that one's cool. I like, although its methods are confused. I'm not sure what it was doing, and why it just put Luke up and like on the ceiling. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a freezing thing, a meat thing. But uh, that thing was creepy, and I liked like kind of the dread that was instilled as it was coming towards him, and he was just trying to use
Mm.
the Force to get his lightsaber. Like that sequence is really cool to me. I am a big fan of the arena fight in Attack of the Clones, where with Padme and Anakin and Obi-Wan, where they're fighting those monsters, and then all the Jedi come out. Like that's not my favorite movie, but one of my favorite sequences of the prequel trilogy, I think. So that's just a lot of fun, and those creatures are really fun and interesting and weird. Um, I also I also love the Crate Dragon. We talked about Khalid and I talked about the Crate Dragon on another podcast actually, and I just think
Seventh
that's
Matrix, shout
Seventh
out.
Matrix. Yeah, shout out to our buddy Rod. But that's just such a cool monster, and like you said, Luke, it was cool to see it kind of brought to like really brought to life in a way that we never probably wouldn't have imagined years ago.
Yeah, yeah. But good choices on the Attack of the Clones arena monsters. Those are awesome.
Yeah, they have some cool creatures in the prequel trilogy, like some cool aliens and some like for its overabundant use of CGI, like some of the stuff looks cool. I will
Attack of
say
the
that.
Clones had some of the cooler stuff for me. Like I like the little like when they're in the city and like the assassins after
Mm-hmm.
Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That felt like the Fifth Element kind of, where they're like jumping the flying
It was very,
cars.
yeah, like that's what I thought the whole thing was gonna be, was like just like these like cool like sleek cities and stuff. But we got what we got.
We got a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Phantom Menace had that those underwater monsters.
Oh yeah.
Those are kind of cool.
Yeah,
The bit
yeah.
like
There's always
there's always a bigger fish.
yes. I was just about to say that. I love it.
Oh, I beat you to it.
Yeah. You get credit, my friend.
Yeah. No, those are cool. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I like it. I'm excited to see what more we're gonna get in like the new shows. Like the Mandalorian is like obviously up the game with the kind of creatures that they show. Like there's the big spider in that second episode of season 2 also, and there's like that big rhino creature in the first season at some point too.
Oh yeah, that
So
one almost like did him in too.
yeah. So I'm excited to see like what more creatures like there. If we want to do more May the 4th episodes on Frankenstein's podcast, I feel like the well is like continually full.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of things that are full, Khalid, when they tend to start hibernating, bears will be full.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's segue to the 4 bears test.
All right. So, Luke, you know what the 4 bears test is, having heard this before. But for those of you who do not know, the 4 bears test is where I distract from a very informative discussion to ask the question nobody else was thinking about. What would happen if you replace the monster of discussion with 4 bears? Does it change the narrative, or is it, like, irrespective of the narrative, still the same threat? I'm very happy after our Uzumaki episode, which was a first for me. It broke the 4 bears test for me. Uh, in this one, it's a very clean pass. You throw anybody in a cage with 4 bears that are used to just eating things that fall into that cage, like Jedi or not, that's a threat. I still think Luke would have survived it in the same way that he survived the Rancor, but like he would have had to have been clever, and he'd had to be clever 4 times, because like just because you take out one bear doesn't mean you can do it just as easily with the other ones. Bears are pretty fast, and if anything, it's more of a threat to him in that cage, because like part of the disadvantage of the Rancor was that he was so big he couldn't get into like those little like nooks and crannies that Luke was hiding in while he thought of a game plan. Like like if 4 bears are coming at you in that little space, like they could make a pretty good swipe at you. So yeah, no qualifications, nothing. It's just that threat was equal to 4 bears. It's a pass, Joe. I know you're waiting for that.
I was waiting. It is a nice comeback. Like you said, the last one kind of broke it. So it's nice to come back to have a nice, comfortable pass.
Yeah. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a solid argument, my friend. Couldn't say it better.
Yeah. You put more thought into it than any of us. So yes, whatever you say is right.
This is a near and dear segment to me.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are near and dear, Khalid, would you fight or flirt with the Rancor if you were, I don't know, talking smack to Jabba and he just pushed that button and you fell down? If you were there, what would you do? How would you try to survive? Fight or flirt?
Again, easy one for me. Flirt. It's a lonely monster. The only people that he gets to meet are food. So I don't think that any of them have even tried to tell it that it looks hot that day. It's glistening. It's been working on its biceps, its tries. I think the Rancor is like all of us, a little bit of attention, some compliments, it goes a long way. So why not give it a shot? Like maybe we could be friends, and I could do like a quick 5-minute stand-up routine for people before he comes in and eats them. I just think that the possibility of a relationship there is strong. So my answer is, again, unqualified, flirt.
Good choice. I would agree with you. It's like, from everything I heard in the mythology like readings, like it's a pretty docile, like chill creature. It just becomes mean when it's like treated poorly, like it is in Jabba's palace. So kind of like like a dog. Like his dog is only like aggressive when it's kind of made to be so. So I feel like you gotta flirt. It's just like it just wants some pets.
Yeah, man, give it a solid back rub. He probably hasn't got one of those in a minute. He's got to have hard to reach spots I could scratch.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think Luke would appreciate that. Even though he killed it, like I think he would appreciate me looking for a way to solve this situation without resorting to murder.
Well said, Khalid.
Yeah.
Yes, like a true Jedi.
Yeah, Luke wasn't really a true Jedi at that point, so it makes sense that he killed his way out of it.
Yeah. Hey, well said.
Yeah. You guys, I'm assuming you guys are both flirt. Joe, you kind of said you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, thinking right now, the alternative would be a difficult one, I think. So maybe by default, I would go with flirt as well.
Yeah, that gate trick isn't gonna work every time.
Well, that was fun. I liked digging into Star Wars. With this podcast, it's kind of fun when you get the chance to like really dive into like a nerdy franchise property that we all love. So I mean, usually it's just like a single movie or something. So this like has a whole like, again, a full well of stuff we can pull from. So I think it was fun. Thanks Luke for being part of this.
Oh yeah,
Thanks, man.
It was a blast, guys. Thanks for having me. I could talk about this all day.
Well, maybe we'll have you on for that. Before we wrap up officially, we're going to go to our final segment of the show, which we refer to as our What the Fandom section.
Wow.
See, I doubled down on the guitar riff idea that we did last, so I don't know. I said I would never do it again, and I did it again, and I already regret it.
If you ask me.
I regret it already.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, Joe. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That bell can't be unrung, dude. It happened.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, our What the Fandom section is where we kind of go around and share something that we're into at the moment that may or may not have anything to do with what we just talked about, may or may not have anything to do with monsters for that matter. Just something that we're into and we thought maybe you listeners might get a kick out of and might dig. Maybe you will find something that you love too. So Khalid and I try to come prepared with these things. So we'll give you a moment to think, Luke, if you want. So Khalid, why don't you start us off? What the fandom with you?
My What the Fandom this week is a 5-week pilot writing course that I just completed yesterday. It's called Ben Axelrad Pilots, and the website that you can go to look more into it is benaxelradpilots.com. I'll send the link to Joe to throw into the footnotes, but yeah, it's been pretty great. I was really busy with work the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been as good of a student as I could be, but the nice thing about these classes is because of COVID, it's Zoom based. So even if you've taken the class and you like missed a class for whatever reason or just weren't able to pay as much attention, they throw them up on Vimeo so you can review them later at your like leisure. And yeah, it's a really good class for anybody who's like had an even passing interest in writing a pilot. Like you don't have to be an expert to get into it. And yeah, it just teaches you form and like proper outlining, because I feel like a lot of people think it's as simple as like open up the script writing app and start writing. And that's really very few people do it that way. The real way to do it is come up with an idea, flesh it out, outline it to such a degree that it really is just paint by numbers when you actually do get to the screenwriting app. And I found it very useful, and the teacher's great. I also did the additional one-on-one sessions on Sundays with somebody who really like helped me get my idea like more fleshed out. And if you're into writing and want to give a shot at television writing, like you got to start somewhere and you got to learn the fundamentals, even if you have like designs to like break the formula and go full Last Jedi with it. So yeah, benaxelradpilots.com. Highly recommend it. Check it out.
Cool, Khalid. I like that one. It's kind of out of the box suggestion.
Yeah, the only thing I saw that was I thought about recommending was Nobody, that new Bob Odenkirk movie. But if you've seen the trailers, you either like it or you don't.
I have not seen the trailers, actually, honestly. Yeah.
What the fandom with you, Joe?
Thanks for embracing that, Khalid.
I just didn't want you to be the only one to put yourself out there with that.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna share two things actually this week. I first, since our last episode with our buddy Jim, and we started exploring the manga world and like looking into more like different stuff from like Japan and like different different culture. I got a little bit into anime lately, and I'm reading some manga, but one specifically that stood out to me is it is an anime inspired from a manga. It's called Claymore, which is a kind of a cool. It's a cool story. It's really dark, really bloody, so definitely not for kids. But it's about a world where there's like these creatures can like shapeshift into human form, but they just do it to eat humans. And so they basically think that they're like above us on the food chain, and they're trying to kill humans and eat them as prey. And the humans' only defense against these monsters is this race of like basically super soldier women called claymores, but they're really stoic and just kind of like badass fighters because they are part creature, part monster, or whatever the monsters are called. And so they're like half monster, half human. So they don't really form connections because they're like, oh, if we, like we could any minute turn on like full on our monster side or whatever. But she befriends like a little boy from the town that she saved, and he's kind of like following along with her. And so she's like kind of warring between that humanity monster side, and she has like a handler basically who's like gives her missions. It's a cool story. Like I don't know, it's like a kind of a medieval fantasy setting, but it's got just like different elements that kind of make it stand out and unique. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm on like 4 or 5 episodes into it, but I'm, as a monster fan and genre fan in general, I'm digging it. It's on Hulu if anyone's interested. It's the dub version, so it's all in English. You can watch, but I would highly recommend that one. And the other thing I wanted to recommend is a comic book, and I was inspired to revisit this based on watching Falcon the Winter Soldier recently. But I reread The Truth, Red, White, and Black, which is a comic book from 2003 written by Robert Morales and illustrated by Kyle Baker. But it's like it's a Captain America story, but it kind of tells a story of like, it's like a Tuskegee Airmen sort of allegory about African American soldiers who were experimented on with the super soldier serum that Steve Rogers got. And it's a really cool story, and the art is really cool too. And I don't want to spoil anything in the show Falcon and Winter Soldier, but the story does play into that show a little bit, and it was fun to go revisit it. If you want more, if you're watching that show and want more, definitely read the comic. Or if you're just like into comics and storytelling that's a little different than what you would normally get in comics, definitely check it out. So highly recommended, The Truth, Red, White, and Black. So those are my two what the fandoms for this week. How about you, Luke? What the fandom with you?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things that come to mind. So on the Nintendo Switch, a couple gaming recommendations for you. I've been going into the backlog of the Zelda series. Fun to go all the way back to the originals, all the way up to some of the modern ones. In the same way, again, backlog video games that I played when I was younger. Halo Master Chief Collection is always so great. So, if just recommendations for, if there are people out there who haven't, accessed these kind of landmark video game titles, there are really, really good, cohesive, easy to access ways to get them. And then last thing I'll mention too is I've just been trying to get my wife Lori into Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings. She's seen the movies and the Hobbit trilogy too, but it's just been kind of fun to share that with her as well. So if there are people out there who haven't accessed that either, that's something I've been into for a long time, but also recently, and 2 thumbs up for me.
Oh, that's a really nice one. I was just thinking, Nicole and I were just talking. We're like, I think Lori and Luke have a Switch, but I wasn't sure. I was going to ask you that, so you answered my question for me. So
nice. Dual purpose, baby. Dual purpose.
Yeah. That was the real reason we had you on. Joe just was afraid to ask you straight up, so he was like coming up with a pretext of like, well, you like Star Wars. That'll get us somehow close to that.
It was all a ruse.
Oh, well played, man. Well played. That was a long time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, seriously though, it was a lot of fun. It was a blast to have you on. Thank you again, Luke, for being with us, and we'll definitely have you on again for something else. maybe Star Wars, maybe not Star Wars in the future. But is there anything you want to plug for yourself? Any socials, places people could find you or follow you?
Um, no, not that I can think of right now.
No.
I do a fair amount of that for work. I'm on social a lot, so I don't have like a lot of big personal handles. But again, I just say, thanks for having me, guys. It was a blast.
Yeah. So you have to get your next Luke fix next time he's on the podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's a rare commodity, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a really fun discussion. It was great catching up with you.
Yeah. Same to you, man. It was a blast. Thanks again.
Yeah. All right. So next episode, if I'm not mistaken, Joe, is our 1 year episode.
Next year is our 1 year episode. Yeah. So it will
next
be
episode, not next year.
Next episode will be our 1 year episode. Thank you, Clede. Yeah. It's a big one. That's kind of cool to say. We did this for a whole year now. It's I think it's going to be episode 28. I want to say, given we've had some weeks that we missed, and we try to go every other week, so I think it's 28 for us.
Radical.
Yeah. So
and,
it's at this. Sorry, Khalid. I was just say at this point, it's been a year, and you're listening to our podcast. You definitely should be subscribing and leaving those 5-star ratings.
Yeah. What are you doing? You listen to us for a year? You don't have any opinion on us, let alone a 5-star one? Come on, guys. You're gonna make Joe cry, and that makes me cry.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, thank you guys for listening for this long. It's been an honor. If you can, give us 5 stars and a nice review, so we'll shout you out on the pod if you do that. That being said, check out our next episode, which in honor of the 1 year, we're going to do a personal favorite of mine and Joe's. You might have heard of it. It's this old movie called Men in Black. We'll let you know what the specific monster we're talking about is. Are we just gonna do Edgar? Are we gonna do the cockroach monster?
You gotta do Edgar, don't you?
We gotta do Edgar. All right, so we're gonna do Edgar, or the cockroach monster. So peep that. It's gonna be a really fun discussion. I will be probably the most excited I've been about a specific movie since Attack the Block. So that with all that said, and with all the thank yous to Luke for coming on today, you guys have a great week and creep it easy.